Hello and welcome to the Biotech Broadbirds channel. In my Purrely guide I was asked if I could do a budget Purrely deck profile. And here it is. In general, Purrely is a very cheap deck because the engine was reprinted a short time ago. The Purrely engine costs under €10 on card market. So in the first part of this video I show you your engine consists of 21 to 22 cards, which are mandatory and must be played in these ratios. You can't change that. In the second part I show you the non-engine. You fill the deck in this current format based on the budget you have. I have divided the non-engine into categories according to the card market prices of the cards. So let's start with the mandatory engine. As I said before, the engine consists 21 to 22 cards, depending on whether you want to play 2 or 3 copies of Purrely. I preferred 3 copies, so we take now 3. Then you always play 2 lilies. You want to normal summon Purrely and special summon Lily under the field spell. So Lily is protected by targeting effects, and Lily is more important than Purrely. And then to the engine, you always play 3 streets, 3 my friend, 3 pretty memory, 3 happy memory, and then 2 delicious, 2 sleepy, and 1 heap. This is always right, and you can't change these ratios. These are my 3 categories. First category is cheap. The card is pretty worthless. The next is mid, 5 to 15 euros, and expensive. All cards over 15 euros. Because you want to see the budget options of the deck, let's start with the expensive category to see which cards you can't play when you play Purrely on a budget. I'm just going to introduce cards that I would even consider playing in this current format. And yeah, let's start. You already know the first card, which is too expensive, are Fuvalos. This card is over 100 euro, I think. This is too expensive. Don't buy this card. And the second card is to Purrely. This is, I think, 40 euros or 45, I don't know. But this is also too expensive. And the last card is Black Goat Loves. This card starts by 15 euros and also pretty expensive. This all 3 cards are cards you could play in the main deck or in the side deck. Is all about your preference. On the next category, the mid category, there's only 1 card I would consider in this format, and this is around 6 or 7 euros. And this is Triple Tactics Talent. This card you would play in the main deck. In side deck, this is pretty worthless. You could play this card in the past. You don't play this card very often because in a lot of cases when you can activate talents, this is already too late, because when you got hand trapped, and this is a pretty good hand trap on a pretty crucial point, you can't play, and Often this is an imperm, and then you even can't play talents. But in this format, I think you can play talents. Let's come to the interesting part of this categories, the cheap category. The cards are at maximum €5, and the €5 cards are Infinite Impermanence and Ash Blossom. These are staples. When you play a hand trap version of Purrely, you have to play the cards. And Pot of Prosperity is also, I think, €3 roundabout. It's in one-off. You should play this card, and the next cards, except I think Crossout. Crossout is also, I think, €2, €3, €4. You could play this card. You don't have to, but you could. And these are the cards. There are €2 to €5. The next card I would consider are all worthless and not even €1, I think. Let's start with the hand traps you could play in this format. There's Dulin Lockbird. This card is pretty good, I think, in this format because a lot of decks plays into it. Then Ghost Ogre, I like this card. Had a lot of matchups. Ghost Ogre perform, and I would play Ghost Ogre, I think, when I play Purrely on the budget. Then the other hand traps are Veiler, you could play. Myrna is pretty the same as Veiler, but Veiler is a little bit better. You can play Didi Crow, is also a tough card. And the last hand trap I would consider is Nibiru. And on the next part, I forgot something. And a hand trap you could also play is Triple Dimension Shifter. Going first is sometimes a little bit tough to play with Shifter, but when you go second, you can drop Shifter and go straight into Happiness and play under Shifter really well and set up your Noir. So you don't have to play a hand trap Purrely version. You could play a breaker version. This is also pretty fine, and in this category I would consider Sphere Mode and Lava Golem. Both cards are really strong, and Sphere Mode takes out one more monster, but Lava Golem, for example, is good against Centurion. Then Dark Ruler is a staple in Purrely of then you can think about Book of Eclipse and Forbidden Chalice. Forbidden Chalice is a card you can use going first, going second. It's a spell. It's okay to play this card. And the last three cards in the cheap category are not really hand traps or breaker. They are staples. Something like Terraforming is a mandatory card and pretty worthless because there's several reprints. Called by several reprints, worthless. And you could think about Monster Reborn. Sometimes I like this card in the Purrely deck because you can summon Purrely, try to find something and link it away for Anima, special summon it with Monster Reborn again, use the effect again, and link into something like SP Little Knight. Coming to the extra deck, the first card in the expensive category is Little Knight. It's around about €30. This card is good, but not mandatory, I think. And the second card is Silhouette Rabbit. I don't like this card, but a lot of lists play this card. This is around about 16-17 euros. Yeah, who play it with the Azaroon. On the mid category, you have Zeus. This is a mandatory card in Purrely lists. It's in every list. You should play this card. This is around about 8 euros. Then you could play Sky Crisis. Typhoon is not mandatory. There are a lot of lists that don't run Sky Crisis. I like this card, but yeah, you don't have to play this card. And the last card in the mid category, the only card that isn't worthless in the Purrely engine is Purrely Noir, because this card don't have a reprint, but this is mandatory. You have to play Noir for sure. In the cheap category, there are our Purrely cards. They are all mandatory. Yeah, Noir, Plump, Beauty, and Happy. Then when you play Zeus, for the Zeus engine, you also play Nightingale, because they can attack directly, and Downed Magician for material use. Then when you don't play Little Knight, you can substitute this card, or Silhouette Rabbit maybe. Going first, you can play, when you play a spell heavy version of Purrely, you can play Civ and Princess Bride. When you play Didi Crow, you can play Recital Starling. This card can search first turn Didi Crow, and the last substitution of this both cards first turn is Robin. This can bounce 2 cards. This is also pretty okay. You could play this card. Then next stable, I think, is Anima. This is for the SP line, so when you don't play SP, I think there's no reason to play Anima. Then you can play Condemned Dark Lord. This is only for timeout, because in the end phase you gain 500 life points for every fairy on your field. And then you could play Dagger to clear something, and in some cases you want to clear your own monsters, because when you're playing Retaliating Sea, this is a way to bring it to the graveyard, the Retaliating Sea, when you don't have Little Knight. And the last card is Lizardos, and this is for the same reason as Donner Dagger. You can choose between one of these. This is only when you play something like Retaliating Sea, or maybe Nip, maybe Bestials, but yeah, I don't think this is necessary. I would only play them when you're playing in this format Retaliating Sea, what you should, because the card is MVP. And now we come to the side deck plan. In the expensive between mid category Bistils, Magnamut and Ruisworm are around 10 to 15 euros, I think. Baldrake is worthless. Yeah, but you could play Bistils, they're pretty okay against the most matchups. And the rest of the cards are in the cheap category. Labyrinth is a really bad matchup, so you could play free Ghostbell. And another card I tested was Tenkoseka, also worthless. Is against Runic Stun, against Labyrinth going second, maybe going first. You could norm it, and they blocked your block the spell trap zone of your opponent. Then you can side Shuffler, Keldo and Modora, but I don't think they are pretty good right now. When you play Silhouette Rabbit, you have to play Azarun. For timeout, you could play Dogwood. Yeah, this is okay, I think, to play. Then I have for Branded or Kashtira, you could play Super Ancient Organism. This card is in AFTK against Branded. You could side this going second. It's also good against Chimera, I think. But when you play against Branded and you flip this going first, going second, they have no clear out. This is an FTK rivalry too. This you could play rivalry in the main deck. I wouldn't in this format, I think. But this card is very good. And for Tenpai, because Tenpai is really popular and a really hard matchup, and they always sack you. You can play triple Dimension Barrier, and covered under other matchups too. It's a pretty good card. And another card against Tenpai. This is maybe a little bit better, but it's only for Tenpai and maybe Gimmick Puppet. Is Kurifoton. Kurifoton is a card you discard it, take 2000 damage, and you take no damage for this turn, so you are safe against Gimmick Puppet or Tenpai. And the better part of Kurifoton against Dimension Barrier in something like Tenpai is you can draw it with Noir. When you draw Dimension Barrier with Noir, you can use it, but Kurifoton is a hand trap and you can discard it when you draw your 6 or not 6 when you draw your 4 cards. And the last card is back removal, Hairpiece, Feather Duster, Lightning Storm. Cosmic Cyclone is the best in this format, I think, because of Centurion. I would play Cosmic over the other, maybe Cosmic and Feather Duster. Your going first staple in Purrely is always, since a few years, I think, Dimension Fisher, because they protect your place for hand traps, or is good against your opponent's deck. Dimension Fisher is really good. And a card I would play in this format is Retaliating Sea. This card is crazy. A lot of matchups. Against a lot of matchups, this card is really, really good. Play this card when you play a pure Purrely version. This card has a reprint. There's Worthless. This card can, when you link some away or send to the graveyard, can search Contact Sea. Contact Sea is only good against Branded. Because they can do plays with this card on his field, but every other matchup summons SB Little Knight, link this away, and this is worthless. Don't play this card in this format, but Retaliating Sea is pretty nice. So now we build a few decks. Few variants you could play. These are the 22 cards I started the video with. This is only the engine, so we have to fill this deck with 18 cards. The first variant, or the first version I show you is a Crossout version. Always stable in every version is Prosperity, Terraforming, and Callby. These are mandatory. These both are mandatory, and this is really good. You have to play this, I think, too. And then 15 slots are left, and because we play the Crossout variant, we play, of course, Crossout Designator. Why you could play this version of a deck is because Crossout helps you to play first turn more safe. It's a little bit worse going second, but your first turn combo is easier to play. And then we play the hand traps. They are good, on free. So free Ash Blossom, free Impermanence. This is the most important Crossout target, because Impermanence hurts a lot. And then I would play triple Droll, because Droll is very good in this format and you can draw it with Noir, and yeah, nobody plays through Big Noir and Droll and Lockbird. And then we play three hand traps, three offs, three one-offs, one Veiler, one Ghost Ogre, and one DD Crow for Crossout targets. And yeah, the extra deck is pretty standard. You play all the Purrelys, you play the Zeus engine, when you play DD Crow, and you have space because you don't play SP Little Knight, you play Starling to search DD Crow, and then you can play whatever you want. The extra deck is always the same, little bit depending which variant do you play or prefer. When you play DD Crow, you should play Recital Starling, I think, and yeah, the rest is on your preference. So now we build a board breaker version of this deck, and these are the engine cards, 22, and the 8 non-engine spots are Prosperity, Terraforming, Callby, because they are staples. And the best board breaker right now, I think, is Dark Ruler. You could play. It trades really well with interruptions of your opponent. Triple Tactics Talents is really good because you can use it going first, going second, and is additional spell in your graveyard when you use it for plump. Then Forbidden Chalice, good, going first, going second, and at this point shoutouts to the Whittlers on Dueling Book. When you want to see high competitive gameplay on Dueling Book with the Purrely deck, look at his games. Yeah, they're pretty. This is a pretty strong Purrely player. And then in the breaker version, you could also play hand traps like Infinite Impermanence and Ghost Ogre. You could use it as a hand trap, but you could use it as a board breaker. So maybe when your opponent have a Caesar, you can start your turn with Impermit, takes out 2 interruptions. Or when you have Desiree, you could Ghost Ogre Desiree, and he can't negate with this card. When I would play Purrely on a budget version, I think I would play a kind of this variant. Prosperity, Terraforming, Callby, then generic hand traps like Ash Blossom, and Infinite Impermanence. I like Ghost Ogre pretty well. I think it is a really good hand trap right now. Then triple Draw and Lockbird, because it's pretty good against a lot of decks. And yeah, when you end with Noir and draw your Ash, draw your Ogre, Troll, your opponent can't play through this 1 DD Crow to search it with Recital Starling. And yeah, on the last 2 flex spots, I think I would play 2 triple Tactics Talents. Yeah, on this version, 1 or 2 hand traps first turn against your combo could be crucial. You have to learn how to play the first turn combo correctly to play around the most hand traps. It's important to play around Veiler, around Imperm. Sometimes you can play around Ghost Ogre, Droll or DD Crow, but you need experience to find the ways. This is really hard to tell something or to tell someone how to play against hand traps. You need time and practice with the deck to learn this. So that are the thoughts about my budget Purrely deck, and when you have any questions about the Purrely deck around rulings for especially Purrely or something else, ask in the comments and I give you a quick answer. Or when you have maybe a very interesting question about this deck, I could make a video about it and listed it on this Purrely guide. So see you on the next video.